This is the QTV Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM, and I am Mamna Buka. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. Even in a country like the Gambia, where road traffic accidents are commonplace, news of Wednesday's accident in Farafenni in the North Bank region with multiple fatalities has sent shockwaves across the nation. At the State House in Banjul today, President Barrow received the outgoing Economic Force Commander, Colonel Nganjouf, and formally welcomed his successor, Commander Colonel Aliutin. The Gambia Immigration Department, in collaboration with the Gambia Police Force, intercepted more than 300 would-be migrants in coordinated operations carried out on January 6, targeting key irregular migration routes in the Greater Banjul area and the North Bank region. In the early hours of Monday, the 5th of January, a migrant boat carrying about 200 Gambian and Senegalese nationals returned to shore at Bijilo Beach after it began leaking at sea. Survivors say the vessel bound for the Canary Islands had only one engine. A commissioner with the Gambia Immigration Department's Migration Unit calls for the urgent criminalization of migrant smuggling, warning that the absence of such legislation hampers the GID Migration Unit's ability to dismantle smuggling networks. The Center for Good Governance on Wednesday unveiled a groundbreaking policy paper proposing the expansion of youth suffrage in the Gambia. The proposal recommends lowering the voting age to 16-17 for parliamentary and local government elections. These and more coming ahead. Do stay with us. Now, even in a country like the Gambia, where road traffic accidents are commonplace, news of Wednesday's accident in Farafenni in the North Bank region
The accident is believed to have happened in the early hours of Wednesday morning. According to usually reliable sources, at least 7 people are confirmed to have lost their lives in the devastating road accident, which occurred when a 14-seater vehicle traveling from Soma collided head-on with a bus coming in the opposite direction. The collision occurred approximately 130 meters from the Farafenni military barracks. The aftermath from the crash can be seen in these images. Personnel from the military barracks arrived at the scene, assisting with the transport of the deceased and critically injured passengers to nearby medical facilities. Our regional correspondent, Don Williams, was informed by authorities that 7 people were confirmed dead at the scene. However, there are unconfirmed reports that the number of deaths is far higher. Senegalese authorities have confirmed that both vehicles involved in the accident are registered in Senegal, and they say the death toll is higher. However, we await confirmation of that from Gambian authorities. Eyewitnesses suggested that the accident may have been caused by speeding and dangerous overtaking on a curve. However, that has not been confirmed by the authorities. Reports indicate that the minibus, identified as a Sehu Sarifu type coming from Kolda, collided with a bus traveling from Dakar, resulting in catastrophic consequences. This is a developing story and will bring further details when we are able to do so. Answane so Nyasi for KTV News.
We apologize for the incomplete narration of the first story. Now moving on to the rest. At the State House in Banjul today, President Barrow received the outgoing Economic Force Commander, Colonel Nganjouf, and formally welcomed his successor, Commander Colonel Aliutin. Aliou Cissé reports.
Speaking to the media shortly after meeting the Gambian leader, incoming Economic Force Commander, Colonel Aliutin, expressed his commitment to working hand in hand with Gambian authorities and taking proactive measures to address any threats to national stability. He thanked President Barrow for receiving him.
It is a very strong motivation for me to carry out my mission assigned to me by ECOWAS and the Gambian highest authorities. From my side, with my team, I will do my best to meet the achievement assigned. I know that there are great challenges as it pertains to security. Security means challenges. Fortunately, as I said earlier, the Gambian armed forces and security forces are doing their best to meet and mitigate all threats against Gambia and its interests.
The ECOWAS resident representative, Meta French, reaffirmed regional bodies' commitment to peace and stability, noting the importance of strategic security measures in the region facing multiple challenges.
It's very important. As we all know, ECOWAS, the economic forces have been here since 2018, and it's a mark of how the president holds ECOWAS very, very dear and very important to the security of the Gambia. I think we've come a long way, and as we move towards the next round of elections, we are hoping that the security situation will continue to be stable, and one of the main tasks of the new force commander will be to liaise with the security forces to ensure that they provide adequate security. It's good that they've been able to have this meeting with the president, and going forward we will work with the security forces to ensure that we keep the security environment stable.
President Barrow expressed appreciation for the support of ECOWAS and the government of Senegal for the sustained support, and assured the incoming commander of his government's full cooperation. He emphasized the need for close collaboration with government security authorities. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
The Gambia Immigration Department, in collaboration with the Gambia Police Force, intercepted more than 300 would-be migrants in coordinated operations carried out on January 6th, targeting key irregular migration routes in the Greater Banjul area and the North Bank region. Yafatugay tells us more.
I was passing on the ground when this migrant, the boat capsized. The coffins were coming out. We rescued about 6 dead bodies. But this is a concerted effort for everyone to make sure that we fight for these things. Our youths are perishing in the seas.
That was Superintendent Omanga, the head of immigration at Denton Bridge, who took part in the operation. At Kamalo near Denton Bridge in the Kanifing municipality, over 100 would-be migrants were intercepted during a joint operation led by Commissioner Habib Sanyang, Commissioner of Banjul, and Chief Superintendent Manjang, the Chief of Operations at Denton Bridge. Authorities said investigations are ongoing to determine the origin of the suspected migrant boat, its intended departure point, and those suspected of organizing that attempt.
Today we received an information that there are people hiding in the mangroves here. So I sent my men, some of my plainclothes officers, to go and spot the area, and they came back. We came here, we searched them, but we couldn't find them. And today around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we also received a call that some of them are hiding in the mangroves.
It's supposed to be the business of every Gambian to make sure that we safeguard the youths of this country, and by large, people who are entering this country. Because if you check here, within the number that is here, is about 115, out of which 1 Gambian, I believe, and the rest is Senegalese 2, and the rest is about the Malians and some Ivorians. So we cannot stop everybody coming to the country, but because people come on different reasons. But for the reason of this backway journey, we're supposed to come together to fight.
Earlier the same day, at about 5 a.m., the Police Intervention Unit launched a separate operation, coded name Storm Watch, in the Jinak area of North Bank region, led by PIU officers from Kerawan. The operation targeted suspected migrant facilitators and unlawful departure attempts, resulting to the arrest and evacuation of more than 200 individuals. A total of 222 migrants of mixed nationalities were later transported from Jinak Kajata to Bara for migration processing before onward transfer to Tanje. The operations were carried out with support from local communities, particularly residents of Kajata village and Jinak. According to the migration authorities, on a separate but similar incident on the 6th of January 2026, the Imam of Jinak Kajata voluntarily reported to Bara Immigration Station to provide further statements regarding the alleged seize and sale of fuel and other materials for migrants by some members of the Jinak community. Security authorities said the actions form part of sustained, intelligence-led efforts to prevent dangerous sea journeys, dismantle migration networks, and protect lives. The crackdown comes amid heightened concern following recent maritime incidents off the Jinak coast, reinforcing warnings about the deadly risk associated with irregular migration. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafatigay.
In the early hours of Monday, the 5th of January, a migrant boat carrying about 200 Gambian and Senegalese nationals returned to shore at Bigelow Beach after it began leaking at sea. Survivors say the vessel bound for the Canary Islands had only one engine. Usman Jatta reports.
With daily headlines of deaths along the Atlantic and Mediterranean migration route, some young people remained determined to risk the dangerous journey to the Canary Islands in search of what they perceived as better opportunities or a better life. In the early hours of Monday morning, this overloaded boat was forced to turn back after water began seeping in, raising fears of its sinking. Among those on board, pictures from the scene at Bigelow Beach show abandoned biscuits, water bottles, and other food supplies meant to sustain the migrants during the long journey across the Atlantic via the Mediterranean Sea. Ibrahim Assar, one of the returnees, recounts the frightening experience.
The captain told me he had a boat to Spain and the fee was $60,000. We stayed in Faraba for a week before we were pushed into the sea. While traveling, we noticed the boat was leaking. Around 4 a.m., we saw lights and thought it was Dakar. I suggested we dock at the beach, and I was the first person to jump off.
Another migrant, Suleiman, says they spent several days at sea with limited equipment.
Since last Wednesday, we were on the boat for 5 days. I paid $60,000 for the trip. We had only one engine and one captain from Senegal to take us to Spain.
An eyewitness, Buba Drame, says the unusual sight of the boat early in the morning raised suspicion.
My brother called me and said he saw a boat he had never seen here before. I suspected it was a migrant boat, so I went and took pictures. When the boat reaches the shore, they all came down, picked up their phones and left. I spoke to one of them. He said he was from Senegal and about 17 or 18 years old.
Later, the same day, in a separate development, the Gambia Police Force and the Gambia Immigration Department apprehended suspected would-be migrants at Denton Bridge. The incidents reflect the continued rise in irregular migration attempts. Meanwhile, another migrant boat that allegedly departed from Barra on December 28 reportedly arrived in the Canary Islands after 9 days. The boat is among the few vessels that survived the harsh winter weather conditions at sea to successfully arrive at the intended destination. Osman Jatta, QTV News.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have more national news stories. Do stay tuned.
The godfather of Afro Manding music, Jaliba Kuyate ay album Kutakutole Fintindi Holy Saturday 10th of January 2026, Pinchami Hall, Paradise Suites Hotel, 9 p.m. VIP tickets $1,000, ordinary ticket $500. Father of the night Suleiman Diouf Brusubi, Mother of the night Musukeba Sane Trawale Germany, Chief Guest of Honor Momudu Turo Dabo, King of the night Honorable Muhammad Kante Busumbala, Queen of the night Nene Che Yasin Kebe, Auntie of the night Binta Batabali Sabali Kombol Lamen, owners of the night Honorable Sidi SK Njai, Mayor Talib Ahmed Bensouda, Make Kamara Salaji, brothers of the night Lamin Cham NPP, Kemo Sise GFF, sisters of the night Abiba Belgium, Fatou Kamara Petrogas, Maimuna Balde NPP, princess of the night Dr. Seina Bumbai Jaffa, lady of the night Nene Freda Gomez.
wet gu yaram mu ngi dooree ci li ñu am ci suñuy palaat loolu nag tax na ba buntu liggéeykaay United Nations seen banqaas bi dox na ci tëddee li ni dund ak mbayteef mi Food and Agriculture Organisation of the United Nations ak ministre bi saytu wàllu wéet garam gi ñoo jàppalante ngir yokk ñamitaan sarta yi nga xam ne nii moom lañ tëddal si suñ ñamitaaneef nga xam ne danañu dimbale ngir mottaliku lépp loo xam ne loolu la ñu aajoo ci ñam yu sell ak dundin bu sell ngir nag yéwénal wàllu wéet garam ak aar ñu ci ay jàngoro FAO ak ministre bi saytu wàllu wéet garam gi ràññee nañ di jëfoo ñami xotti yi bot bu set balaa ngay commencé togg tànnal nag xeer yi ak ñebbe yu yàqu yi te it fàttalekul ne ñebbe bi bu ko xolli togg ko noonu bu ko defee loolu ak nga wàññi tamit lépp loo xam ne nii dana nekk luy yokk loraat ci mbiri gaas li lakkal ñami xott yi wala nag nga togg ko balaa nga koy lekk te tamit nag ñam yooyu ñu ngi ànd ak sell loo xam ne nii dana gën a yéwénal sa dundin leen fexeel légume ak ñami xott yi ñu bokk nag ci ñam yi nga xam ne nii moom ngay lekk ngir nag am doole wér-gu-yaram ak itamit nag ñam woo xam ne nii ñam wu sell la lekkal légume ak ñami xott yi toftal nag sarta yi nga xam ne nii moom lañ teg ci lépp loo xam ne mu ngi dëppoo ak suñ ñami tànneef ngir nag Gambia bu ànd ak wér-gu-yaram.
Welcome back, and this is QTV News. On Monday, at a high-level conference addressing the Jinak boat tragedy, the latest of several, Binta KJ Barrow, a commissioner with the Gambia Immigration Department's Migration Unit, called for the urgent criminalization of migrant smuggling, warning that the absence of such legislation hampers the GID Migrations Unit ability to dismantle smuggling networks. Mam Nabuka has the rest of the story. In the aftermath of a tragic maritime incident near Jinak village just a few days ago, the national dialogue surrounding irregular migration, commonly referred to as the back way, has intensified, with the Gambian government grappling with the humanitarian consequences of these perilous journeys. Key focus is being placed on the absence of a specific law that criminalizes migrant smuggling. Because human trafficking and migrant smuggling don't carry the same meaning, the Gambia's Trafficking in Persons Act of 2007 only allows the Gambia to prosecute individuals who exploit victims for labor or sex through force, fraud, or coercion. Migrant smuggling, which involves the organized facilitation of illegal entry into another country for a fee, often exists in a gray area within the current legal framework. As a result, smuggling is not recognized as a separate crime in the Gambian Penal Code, and security forces often find themselves unable to charge perpetrators once boats are intercepted. Commissioner of the Gambia Immigration Department Migration Management Unit, Binta KJ Barrow, shared the current difficulties they continue to face.
We have more than 300 plus migrants currently at Tangier Migration Reception Center, and the majority of them are non-Gambians, mostly Senegalese, because Senegal have a law in place that criminalizes smuggling of migrants, and Gambia is yet to have this. And this is known to the sub-Saharan Africans, and that every other sub-Saharan Africans, including mostly West Africans, are using Gambia as a hub.
Commissioner Barrow urges that without specific legislation, perpetrators will continue to profit from the desperation of young Gambians.
We know that this area of, I can call it a business now, is very lucrative, more than drugs now. Because if you are able to mobilize 200, 300 migrants, each paying $50,000, already you are a millionaire. And then your expenditure that you spend on the boat, engines and then fuel, will cost you more than 1.5 million. So every other individual is into this, including Gambians being accomplices to it. But from our statistics from January to date, it has shown that most of the organizers are non-Gambians.
Commissioner Barrow has a final message to the Gambia government and their partners.
We are law enforcement officers, that is immigration, Navy, police. But where is the law that we are enforcing? There is no law. Right now, what we need to do as a country is immediately pass the bill that criminalizes smuggling of migrants and then continue to cooperate and collaborate with other stakeholders.
As more seaborne tragedies occur, and as the government prepares for its 2026 Global Review on Migration, the pressure is mounting on the National Assembly to pass the Gambia Immigration Services Bill. This proposed law is expected to finally provide the legal teeth needed to prosecute smugglers as criminals, to ensure that those who orchestrate these perilous journeys face the full force of the law. Mam Nabuka, reporting for QTV News. The Center for Good Governance on Wednesday unveiled a groundbreaking policy paper proposing the expansion of youth suffrage in the Gambia. The proposal recommends lowering the voting age to 16-17 for parliamentary and local government elections, while excluding presidential polls. Lola M. Kamara attended and filed this report.
The majority of the Gambia's population are youth, with an estimated 60% of the population being under 35. However, although almost all of the country's political parties have a youth wing, there is little evidence of teenagers being involved in the policy or decision-making of these parties. The policy proposal by the CGG aims to strengthen youth participation and democratic inclusion. The Center for Good Governance presented what it describes as its flagship policy paper, describing it as the first of its kind by a Gambian civil society organization. The paper examines whether and how extending voting rights to 16 and 17 years old could strengthen democratic participation, civic responsibility, and political inclusion among young people. Alassane Sow is the executive director of the Center for Good Governance.
When we talk about Center for Good Governance, we talk about all-inclusive governance, in quote, no one left behind. So therefore, Center for Good Governance engaged in a very rigorous research of 30 pages on expanding youth suffrage in the Gambia, policy option, and evidence for lowering the voting age to 16 and 17 in parliamentary and local government elections.
The CGG's proposals seeks to address why citizens under 18 remain excluded from the electoral process, a situation the organization says creates a democratic gap. A central question addressed by this paper is why the proposed reform excludes presidential elections. Alassane Sow again.
The presidential elections in the Gambia concentrate executive authority, national security, oversight, and international representation in a single office. So comparative democratic party shows that most successful youth enfranchisement reforms begin at local or legislative levels, where political stakes are lower, accountability is more immediate, and issue-based learning is strongest.
CGG's proposal draws on international evidence from countries such as Australia and Scotland, where lowering the voting age led to higher youth turnout and long-term civic engagement. According to Mr. Sow, their recommendation is a gradual and cautious approach. They believe this approach balances ambition with institutional realism, minimizes risk, and strengthens public trust through demonstrated success. Mr. Sow elaborates.
Scale to parliamentary election following institutional readiness, evaluations, and public consultations. And maintain exclusion of presidential elections until sufficient democratic maturity and consensus are achieved.
The Center for Good Governance believes expanding youth suffrage is not just about lowering the voting age, but about investing in the future of Gambian democracy and ensuring young people have a meaningful voice in shaping national decisions. For QTV News, Loli M. Kamara.
The Qatar charitable organization has donated a consignment of school supplies to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, MOPSI, to improve teaching and learning conditions for students in schools across the country. Lolem Kamara again.
In some schools across the Gambia, access to basic learning materials remains a challenge, often undermining student attendance, academic performance, and confidence in the classroom. The donation comprises 500 school bags, each filled with exercise books, pens, pencils, and other essential learning materials, to be distributed to schools to support disadvantaged children and foster a more enabling learning environment. Speaking through a translator at the handover ceremony, the country director of the Qatar charitable organization, Mustafa Es Sati, said the initiative is part of a broader commitment to education development, particularly the integration of Arabic and conventional education within the Gambia's national system. The Director of Curriculum, Research, Evaluation and Development at MOPSI described the donated materials as a crucial contribution to enhancing teaching and learning outcomes, especially in numeracy and early grade education.
Through his tireless efforts and compassionate oversight, countless children will now have the tools to unlock their potential and overcome obstacles and contribute meaningfully to the socio-economic development of our nation. We are truly humbled by his generosity, and this act will forever be etched into the annals of our partnership.
Beyond books and pens, the donation carries a profound human impact. For children who previously struggled with limited resources, a simple school bag filled with supplies can restore confidence, ignite curiosity, and inspire dreams of becoming doctors, engineers, or teachers. Receiving the donation, the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, Dr. Abibatu Drame, reaffirmed the government's commitment to collaborating with international partners to advance skills development, education, technology, and inclusive learning opportunities for all children. She expressed gratitude for the Qatar charity's ongoing support and emphasized the strong bilateral relationship between Qatar and the Gambia.
As a government, we are very happy. We are very excited by this partnership, and we hope that we can forge it further, not only to include the production of teaching and learning material. There is a lot more that we can do, and we continue to look forward to strengthening the relationship with the Qatar Charity Foundation and other partners to ensure that teaching and learning in this country is done in the best way possible. We have to remember that basic and secondary education is the foundation of the education of the child. So if we have it right at that level, then we have to be assured that within the upper levels there will be prospects.
The donation from Qatar Charity not only equips students with essential learning materials, but also empowers them, fostering confidence, curiosity, and hope for a brighter future in education and beyond. For QTV News, Loli M. Kamara.
I'm afraid that's all we have for this bulletin. Join us again at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Thanks for watching.